Dear future wife, if you found this, if these words somehow crossed your path at the exact moment they were meant to, then I don't believe it's random. I believe it's time, not time because the world says so. Not time because we've reached a certain age. Not time because loneliness feels loud. Time because alignment feels calm. There's a difference between urgency and readiness. Urgency rushes. Readiness settles. And if you're reading this, I pray it feels like settling. I don't know where you are right now. Maybe you're in a season of growth. Maybe you're healing from something you thought would last. Maybe you're building quietly, wondering when everything will connect. Maybe you're content and not searching at all. But if you found this at the right moment, then maybe our timelines are finally overlapping. Future wife, I didn't write this to impress you. I wrote it to prepare for you. Because long before I knew your name, I was building with you in mind. I was learning patience, so I wouldn't rush you. Learning discipline, so I wouldn't neglect you. Learning humility, so I wouldn't silence you. Learning steadiness, so I wouldn't overwhelm you. If you're reading this, I want you to know something important. I am not chasing you. I am recognizing you. Chasing feels frantic. Recognition feels peaceful. I don't want adrenaline with you. I want calm certainty. There will be no performance when we meet. No exaggerated version of myself. No pretending to be more or less. I will show up steady, clear, grounded, because if it's time, it won't require pressure, it will require presence. Future wife, when you find this, I hope you feel safe. Not excited alone, not overwhelmed, safe. Safe to take your time, safe to ask questions, safe to observe my character, safe to test my consistency. Because readiness isn't about rushing into promises, it's about recognizing foundation. I don't want you choosing me because I seem confident. I want you choosing me because I feel consistent. Consistency is louder than charisma. If it's time, we won't need to convince each other. We'll just sense it. Not in fireworks, not in chaos, in clarity. Clarity that doesn't shout. Clarity that steadies. Clarity that feels like exhaling. I spent years becoming the kind of man who doesn't panic in love. Who doesn't run when things get deep. Who doesn't withdraw when conversations get hard. If you found this now, it means I'm no longer preparing. I'm ready. Ready to listen. Ready to protect. Ready to build. Ready to grow with someone, not just for myself. Future wife, I don't know your story yet, but I respect it. I respect the lessons that shaped you. The boundaries you built. The fears you overcame. The growth you fought for. When you find this, I don't want you feeling rushed to merge your world with mine. I want you feeling invited. Invited into a life that's already stable. Invited into a heart that's already disciplined. Invited into a vision that includes you intentionally. There's something sacred about timing. Too early, and we'd miss each other. Too late, and we'd question it. But right timing feels quiet. It feels like peace. It feels like this makes sense. If you're reading this and something inside you feels calm instead of anxious, steady instead of pressured, curious instead of cautious, then maybe it's time. Not because everything is perfect, but because foundation is strong. I won't promise you a life without storms, but I promise steadiness during them. I won't promise constant excitement, but I promise consistent effort. I won't promise perfection, but I promise intentional growth. When you find this, I want you to look at my actions more than my words. Do I listen when you speak? Do I stay calm when things get tense? Do I follow through on what I say? Do I honor your boundaries? Do I protect your vulnerability? If those answers are yes, then it's not coincidence. It's readiness. Future wife, if it's time, you won't feel like you're stepping into uncertainty. You'll feel like you're stepping into structure. You won't feel like you're adjusting to chaos. You'll feel like you're joining stability. You won't feel like you have to guard your heart. You'll feel like you have to soften, and softness is sacred. I've been preparing for this moment without knowing the date. Preparing to recognize you without rushing you, preparing to choose you without hesitation, preparing to commit without fear. If you found this now, it means I've done the work. And I trust you've done yours too. Because when two prepared people meet, there is no chaos. There is alignment. Alignment feels like peace. Peace feels like home. And home doesn't require convincing. It just feels right. So if you're reading this and your heart isn't racing in panic but resting in curiosity, if your mind isn't questioning but quietly understanding, if your spirit feels steady instead of unsure, then maybe it's time. Not because we forced it, not because we rushed it, not because we rushed it, not because we were tired of waiting, but because we're ready. ready to build, ready to protect, ready to grow, ready to choose each other without hesitation. When you find this, I won't chase. I'll stand steady. Because if it's truly time, we won't need urgency. We'll need clarity, and clarity will carry us forward. I don't know the day you'll read this, but I know this. When you do, I won't be a man in preparation. I'll be a man in position, positioned in peace, positioned in discipline, positioned in humility, positioned in readiness. And if you feel the same, then yes, it's time. If you're still reading, if you didn't scroll past this as something poetic, but pause long enough to feel it, then I believe something subtle is happening. Not pressure, not fantasy, alignment. There's a quiet difference between being intrigued and being called forward. Intrigue fades, calling steadies. And if this found you at a moment where you feel calm instead overwhelmed, curious instead of cautious, open instead of guarded, then maybe the preparation seasons are closing. Not because life is suddenly perfect, but because we are not perfect people, prepared people. Future wife, when you find this, I don't want you asking, is this too fast? I want you asking, why does this feel steady? Because when something is truly time, it doesn't feel rushed. It feels clear. Clear in tone. Clear in direction. Clear in peace. I don't want our beginning to feel like adrenaline. I want it to feel like recognition. Recognition of values. Recognition of emotional maturity. Recognition of rhythm. Recognition of safety. There were years when I was building without knowing your name. Strengthening discipline. Refining communication. Learning patience, confronting ego, managing stress, not because I knew when we would meet, but because I knew that when we did, I wanted to stand without hesitation. If this found you now, it means I'm no longer in preparation mode. I'm in readiness, and readiness feels different. Readiness doesn't chase, it invites. Readiness doesn't overwhelm, it steadies. Readiness doesn't need to convince, it remains consistent. Future wife, when you read this, I want you observing something important. Not how beautifully I speak, but how steadily I live. Do I remain calm under pressure? Do I respect your boundaries? Do I listen more than I interrupt? Do I follow through without reminders? Do I protect your vulnerability? Because readiness is proven in behavior, not declarations. If you find that my words and actions align, then it's not coincidence. It's timing. There's something sacred about meeting at the right moment. Too early, and growth is incomplete. Too late, and clarity feels forced, but right timing feels peaceful. It feels like stepping into something that already has structure. You won't feel like you're fixing anything. You won't feel like you're managing instability. You won't feel like you're negotiating core values. You'll feel alignment. Alignment is not loud. It's subtle. It's steady. It's a deep sense of, this makes sense, future wife. If you found this during a season where you've done your own refining, where you've built your own stability, where you've learned your boundaries and strengthened your voice, then we're not colliding out of need. We're connecting out of readiness. There's a difference between two people filling gaps and two people expanding strength. I don't want to fill your emptiness. I want to expand your stability. I don't want you completing me. I want us complementing each other. If it's time, it won't feel like desperation. It will feel like decision, calm decision, clear decision, competent decision. There will be no dramatic declarations, no rush timelines, no forced momentum. There will be steady progression, intentional conversation, measured steps, mutual discernment. Because when something is right, it can handle patience. Future wife, when you find this, I hope you notice how you feel around me. Do you relax? Do you feel seen? Do you feel respected? Do you feel heard? Do you feel safe expressing disagreement? Do you feel protected emotionally? If the answer is yes, then it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. I've learned that the right beginning doesn't require chaos. It requires clarity. Clarity in communication, clarity in boundaries, clarity in values, clarity in expectations. If this is time, we won't be guessing each other's intentions, we'll articulate them. We won't avoid hard conversations, we'll initiate them. We won't rush physical closeness to manufacture connection. We'll build emotional intimacy first, because emotional intimacy sustains what physical chemistry alone cannot. Future wife, I don't want to win you over. I want to walk beside you. I don't want to impress you. I want to protect you. I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to steady you. When you find this, if your spirit feels calm instead of anxious, if your heart feels curious instead of guarded, if your mind feels clear instead of conflicted, then something is aligning. Alignment doesn't scream, it settles. It feels like coming home to something you didn't know you were waiting for. And if this is time, You won't have to force yourself to believe it. You'll feel it in the absence of chaos, in the absence of fear, in the absence of confusion. I won't be a man hoping to become. I will be a man who became disciplined, came steady, came emotionally mature, came intentional, became intentionally. And if you found this now, maybe you became too. Maybe your growth seasons were preparing you for stability. Maybe your healing seasons were strengthening your discernment. Maybe your patience seasons were aligning your timing. Because two prepared people meeting doesn't create chaos. It creates clarity. Future wife, if this found you at the right moment, then it won't feel like a leap into uncertainty. It will feel like stepping into structure. It will feel like foundation. It will feel like something that can last because it was built before it began. So when you find this, don't rush. Observe. Notice your peace. Notice the consistency. Notice the alignment. And if everything feels steady instead of unstable, if everything feels calm instead of chaotic, if everything feels intentional instead of impulsive, then you'll know what I already believe. It's not random. It's not accidental. It's not premature. It's time. If you made it this far. If you didn't dismiss this as words, but felt something settle in you instead, then I want to speak even more clearly now. Because if this is truly time, then clarity should increase, not confusion. When something is premature, it feels pressured. When something is misaligned, it feels forced. When something is temporary, it feels unstable. But when something is time, it feels steady. It feels like standing on ground that doesn't shift beneath you. Future wife, if you found this during a season where you've already done the internal work, healed what needed healing, strengthened your boundaries, clarified your standards, grown in your discipline, then what we're stepping into isn't need. It's readiness. There is a difference between two people searching for rescue and two people recognizing alignment. Rescue creates imbalance. Alignment creates partnership. I don't want to rescue. I want to walk with you. I don't want you rescuing me either. I want us standing steady on our own before we stand together. If it's truly time, you won't feel like you're filling a void in my life. You'll feel like you're entering a structure that was already stable. Not rigid, not cold. Stable, warm, intentional, prepared. I've spent years building the kind of internal foundation that doesn't panic when love gets serious. I've learned not to disappear when vulnerability increases, not to withdraw when conversations deepen, not to run when things feel real. Because real love requires emotional courage. And if you're reading this, it means I'm not afraid of real anymore. Future wife, when it's time, you'll notice something subtle. There won't be emotional roller coasters, no sudden intensity followed by distance, no dramatic highs followed by confusing silence. There will be rhythm, consistent communication, steady affection, intentional progression. When something is time, it doesn't need chaos to feel alive. It breathes, it grows, it deepens naturally. You won't feel like you have to decode my mood. You won't feel like you're decade my mood. You won't feel like you're guessing my intentions. You won't feel like you're managing my emotions. You'll feel clarity, and clarity builds safety. If it's time, you'll feel respected in pacing, respected in boundaries, respected in your voice, respected in your duality. I won't rush physical closeness to manufacture connection. I won't rush emotional dependency to force attachment. I won't rush commitment to prove intensity. Because when something is right, it can move intentionally. It doesn't need to sprint. Future wife, if this is truly time, then you'll notice that conversations feel easy but deep. Silence feels calm, not awkward. Disagreements feel safe, not threatening. Questions feel safe, not threatening. Questions feel welcomed, not avoided. That's how you'll know this isn't infatuation. It's alignment. Alignment doesn't scream. It confirms. It confirms through consistency, through behavior, through presence, through follow-through. If it's time, you won't feel like you're stepping into unpredictability. You'll feel like you're stepping into structure. Structure that protects your softness. Structure that guards your vulnerability. Structure that supports your growth. I don't want you wondering if I'll say when things get complicated. I want you knowing. Not because I say it repeatedly, but because my behavior makes it obvious. Future wife, there is something sacred about meeting at the right stage of life. Before readiness, love feels heavy. After readiness, love feels natural. And if you found this now, maybe we're in the right stage. The stage where ambition no longer competes with intimacy. The stage where ego has been confronted. The stage where emotional regulation has been practiced. The stage where discipline is consistent. The stage where peace is prioritized over performance. If it's time, we won't feel frantic. We'll feel grounded. There won't be guessing. There will be clarity. There won't be dramatic declarations. There will be intentional decisions. There will be intentional decisions. There won't be rushed timelines. There will be thoughtful progression. Future wife, I don't want you choosing me because the moment feels intense. I want you choosing me because the foundation feels strong. Intensity can fade. Foundation endures. If it's time, you won't feel pressure to perform. You'll feel freedom to be yourself, freedom to express doubts, freedom to ask hard questions, freedom to grow at your pace, freedom to remain individual while building together. I don't want you losing yourself in me. I want you expanding with me. If this is time, then both of us have already learned something important. Peace is non-negotiable. We won't tolerate chaos disguised as passion. We won't confuse inconsistency with excitement. We won't excuse immaturity because of chemistry. We will choose steadiness, and steadiness sustains forever. Future wife, when you found this, maybe something in you felt still instead of stirred. Maybe it felt grounding instead of dizzying. Maybe it felt quiet instead of loud. That quiet is important, because love built on quiet conviction lasts longer than love built on emotional fireworks. If it's time, we won't be trying to prove anything to each other. We'll be observing, discerning, confirming. And once confirmed, we won't hesitate, not because we rushed, but because we recognized. Recognition is powerful. It doesn't demand persuasion. It doesn't require dramatic evidence. It simply feels aligned. And when two prepared people recognize each other, it doesn't create confusion. It creates clarity. Future wife, if you're still reading this and your heart feels steady, not racing in anxiety, not racing in anxiety, not resisting in doubt, then maybe this isn't just words. Maybe it's timing. Not rush timing, right timing. And right timing doesn't need urgency. It needs honesty. It needs consistency. It needs courage. I have done my work. I have built my foundation. I have refined my habits. I have strengthened my discipline. I have learned my patterns. I have matured emotionally. If you're here now, it means I'm no longer preparing in theory. I'm prepared in practice. And if you feel the same about yourself, grounded, healed, disciplined, intentional, then maybe this is not coincidence. Maybe this is convergence. Two paths aligning at the right point. Not early, not late, right? If this is time, you won't have to convince yourself. You'll feel peace confirming it. And I won't rush you. I won't pressure you. I'll remain steady. Because when something is truly time, it doesn't require chasing. It requires standing firm. And if you're here and you feel that steadiness too, then yes, it's time. Because when something is truly time, it doesn't just feel right emotionally. It makes sense logically. It aligns spiritually. It settles internally. And doesn't require convincing. When it's not time, there's tension. When it's not aligned, there's hesitation. When it's premature, there's pressure. But when it's time, there's clarity. Not perfect clarity about every detail of the future, but clarity about the direction, clarity about the foundation, clarity about the character standing in front of you. Future wife, if this found you at the right moment, then you won't feel like you're walking into uncertainty. You'll feel like you're walking into intention. You won't feel like you're navigating emotional unpredictability. You'll feel like you're stepping into steadiness. You won't feel like you're managing someone else's chaos. You'll feel like you're joining someone who already built order. There's something sacred about meeting someone when both of you are no longer trying to prove yourselves, when ego has been confronted, when insecurity has been addressed, when discipline has been practiced, when peace has become a standard. I don't want you choosing me because I seem confident. I want you choosing me because I am consistent. Confidence can be performance. Consistency cannot. If it's time, you'll notice something subtle. There will be no guessing games, no mixed signals, no hot and cold energy, no intensity followed by silence. There will be rhythm, predictable effort, measured steps, clear communication, because love that lasts doesn't fluctuate wildly. It stabilizes steadily. Future wife, I don't want you entering something fragile. I want you entering something structured, not rigid. Structured. Structure creates safety. Structure creates reliability. Structure creates peace. And peace allows vulnerability to flourish. If this is time, then your heart won't feel guarded around me. It won't feel like it needs to analyze every word. It won't feel like it has to brace for inconsistency. It will feel safe. Safe enough to open. Safe enough to ask hard questions. Safe enough to ask hard questions. Safe enough to be honest. Safe enough to disagree respectfully. Safe enough to dream out loud. Because when timing is right, fear decreases. Clarity increases. Trust builds naturally. I don't want to overwhelm you with emotion. I want to steady you with presence. There's a difference between intensity and intention. Intensity burns fast. Intention builds slowly, and slow building creates strong foundations. Future wife, if this is truly time, then you'll notice that I'm not rushing your process. I'm not pressuring commitment. I'm not forcing progression. I'm inviting discernment. Because when something is meant to last, it can withstand patience. I don't want urgency to drive us. I want alignment to guide us. Alignment doesn't need speed. It needs sincerity. If it's time, our conversations will feel like growth, not performance. We won't be saying what we think the other wants to hear. We'll be honest, clear, intentional. Because lasting love cannot survive pretense. It survives transparency. I spent years refining myself so that when this moment came, I wouldn't hesitate. Not because I'm reckless, but because I'm ready. Ready to protect your vulnerability. Ready to support your growth. Ready to stand steady in conflict. Ready to build something enduring. And if you found this now, maybe you're ready too. Ready not because you're lonely, not because you're pressured, not because you're tired of waiting, but because you've become, because you've matured, because you've clarified your standards, because you've strengthened your boundaries, because you've healed what needed healing. When two prepared people meet, it doesn't feel chaotic. It feels calm. It feels like home. Future wife, if this is time, then we won't confuse peace with boredom. We won't confuse stability with lack of passion. We'll understand that passion deepens when it's anchored in security. Security allows affection to flourish without fear. If this is time, there won't be dramatic ultimatums. There will be deliberate decisions. There won't be confusion about direction. There will be shared vision. There won't be hidden expectations. There will be clear communication. And clarity prevents unnecessary wounds. If it's time, your intuition won't feel anxious. It will feel affirmed. You won't need reassurance every day because consistency will reassure you. You won't need to analyze tone constantly because tone will remain respectful. You won't need to question loyalty because integrity will be visible. Future wife, I don't want you stepping into this wondering if I'll change once commitment becomes real. I want you knowing that who I am now is who I will remain. Not flawless, but intentional. Not perfect, but disciplined. Not intense, but steady. If this is time, you won't feel like you're gambling. You'll feel like you're building something structured, building something protected, building something prepared. There's something powerful about recognizing timing. It doesn't create panic, it creates peace. And peace is not passive, it's confident. If you've read this far, and something inside you feels anchored instead of unsettled, then maybe we've reached the convergence point. Not early, not late. Right, because growth seasons have done their work. Right, because growth seasons have been practiced. Right, because emotional maturity has been cultivated. Right, because both of us are no longer looking to be saved, but ready to build. Future wife, if this is time, I won't chase you. I won't overwhelm you. I won't rush you. I'll stand steady. Because steady men build lasting marriages. And lasting marriages begin with clear timing. So if your heart feels calm, if your mind feels clear, if your spirit feels grounded, then maybe this isn't coincidence. Maybe it's confirmation. Not loud, not chaotic, not dramatic. Clear. And clarity is what makes forever possible. If you found this now and it feels steady instead of rushed, then yes. And it feels steady instead of rushed, then yes, it's time. If you've read everything up to this point, if these words didn't overwhelm you, didn't pressure you, didn't confuse you, but instead made you feel grounded, then I need to say this clearly now. When it's truly time, there is no internal debate. Not because we're naive. Not because we're impulsive, but because preparation silences confusion. There were seasons in my life where I questioned everything, overanalyzed emotions, second-guessed alignment, wondered if something was real or just intense. But growth changed that. Growth refined my discernment. Growth strengthened my patience. Growth taught me what peace feels like, and peace feels steady. If this is time, you won't feel adrenaline. You'll feel alignment. Alignment doesn't rush your heartbeat. It steadies it. It doesn't cloud your thinking. It clarifies it. Future wife, I don't want you choosing me because I'm convincing. I want you choosing me because I'm consistent. Consistency removes doubt. Consistency removes fear. Consistency builds trust without effort. If it's truly time, you'll notice that I don't disappear when things deepen. I don't become distant when vulnerability increases. I don't panic when commitment becomes real. I remain, and remaining is powerful. Anyone can show up when things are light. Remaining when things get serious, that's maturity. If it's time, you'll see maturity. If it's time, you'll see maturity. In my tone, in my pace, in my patience, in my responses, there won't be mixed signals. No emotional hot and cold, no sudden intensity followed by withdrawal, just steady presence. Future wife, if this is time, I won't need a pressure direction. We'll move intentionally. We'll discuss timelines calmly. We'll build structure thoughtfully. We'll ask hard questions honestly. Because when something is meant to last, it can withstand clarity. I don't want fantasy with you. I want foundation. Foundation doesn't feel chaotic. It feels secure. If it's time, your nervous system won't feel on edge around me. You won't feel like you're walking on uncertain ground. You'll feel grounded. You'll feel safe expressing doubts, safe asking for reassurance, safe disagreeing respectfully, safe challenging me without fear. Because safety is the evidence of readiness. There's something important about timing. Too early, and insecurity creates instability. Too late, and hesitation creates regret. But right timing creates peace, and peace doesn't scream, it settles. Future wife, I don't want you feeling swept away. I want you feeling anchored. Anchored in character, anchored in discipline, anchored in shared values, anchored in emotional maturity, anchored in emotional maturity. If it's truly time, you won't have to silence red flags. There won't be any. You won't have to justify inconsistency. There won't be any. You won't have to explain away confusion. There won't be any. There will be clarity. Clear intentions, clear communication, clear direction, clear integrity. I've spent years refining myself so that when this moment came, I wouldn't hesitate. Not because I'm reckless, but because I'm resolved. Resolved in my values. Resolved in my values. Resolved in my discipline. Resolved in my readiness. If this found you now, maybe you're resolved too. Resolved in your standards. Resolved in your boundaries. Resolved in your boundaries. Resolved in your growth. Two resolved people don't create chaos. They create calm. Future wife, if this is time, then you'll notice something beautiful. There won't be pressure to perform. You won't feel like you have to impress me. You won't feel like you have to shrink yourself. You won't feel like you have to adapt unnaturally. You'll feel accepted. Not tolerated, not adjusted, accepted. Because when timing is right, identity doesn't feel threatened. It feels welcomed. If it's time, you won't fear losing yourself. You'll feel yourself expanding. Expanding in confidence. Expanding in vulnerability. Expanding in trust. Because healthy love strengthens individuality before it merges partnership. I don't want you choosing me because you're tired of waiting. I want you choosing me because you're ready to build. Ready to build something structured, something intentional, something peaceful, something resilient. Future wife, if it's truly time, there will be no emotional confusion. We won't need dramatic reassurance. We won't need constant validation. We'll simply observe the consistency and move forward confidently. Because consistency builds trust faster than declarations ever could. I won't overwhelm you with intensity. I'll steady you with presence. I won't rush physical closeness to accelerate attachment. I'll prioritize emotional depth. I won't avoid hard conversations. I'll initiate them. I won't disappear when vulnerability increases. I'll remain present, and remaining is how you'll know. If it's time, you won't feel anxious about tomorrow. You'll feel secure in today, because security is built in daily consistency, not future promises alone. Future wife, when timing is right, commitment doesn't feel heavy. It feels natural. It feels like progression, like the next steady step, not a leap into uncertainty, but a movement into alignment. If this is time, then both of us have reached a point where love isn't about fantasy. It's about foundation, not about intensity, about intention, not about speed, about stability. You won't feel rushed. You won't feel pressured. You won't feel unsure. You'll feel unsure. You'll feel unsure. You'll feel clear. And clarity removes fear. If this is time, I won't need to chase you, and you won't need to chase me. We'll both stand steady, and steadiness builds forever. Future wife, if you found this and your heart feels calm, if your thoughts feel organized instead of scattered, if your spirit feels settled instead of shaken, then maybe this isn't coincidence. Maybe this is confirmation. Confirmation that growth seasons did their work. Confirmation that discipline created readiness. Confirmation that discipline created readiness. Confirmation that clarity replaced insecurity. Confirmation that clarity replaced confusion. And confirmation that this isn't premature, it's prepared. When it's truly time, we won't have to convince ourselves. We'll simply move with clarity, not hurried, not hesitant, clear, and clarity is what carries commitment into forever. So if you're reading this and everything feels steady, then maybe we've arrived at the moment we were building toward all along. Not loudly, not dramatically, but intentionally. And intentionally is how forever begins. When it's truly time, nothing feels forced. Not the conversations, not the progression, not the commitment. It feels natural. There's something powerful about reaching a stage in life where love no longer feels chaotic, where intensity isn't mistaken for depth, where unpredictability isn't romanticized as passion, where drama isn't confused with destiny. I've grown past that stage, and if you found this now, maybe you have too. Future wife, I don't want our beginning to feel like adrenaline. I don't want your friends asking, isn't this too fast? I don't want your intuition whispering caution while your emotions shout excitement. I want alignment so clear that your mind, heart, and spirit agree. Agreement inside yourself is the sign. When it's truly time, your thoughts won't argue with your feelings, your instincts won't contradict your excitement, your discernment won't resist your desire. Everything will feel steady. Steady is not boring. Steady is powerful. Steady means the foundation is already strong. I didn't write all this to create anticipation. I wrote it because I knew that when timing aligned, there would be no confusion left to solve. If it's time, you won't feel like you're gambling on potential. You'll feel like you're recognizing preparation. You won't feel like you're taking a risk on immaturity. You'll feel like you're stepping into stability. Future wife, I don't want you choosing me because I sound intentional. I want you choosing me because I live intentionally. Look at my consistency. Look at my tone. Look at how I handle pressure. Look at how I respond to disagreement. Look at how I protect your vulnerability. When it's time, you won't have to search for evidence. It will be obvious. There won't be mixed signals. There won't be unpredictable distance. There won't be emotional whiplash. There will be rhythm. Rhythm of communication. Rhythm of effort. Rhythm of affection. Rhythm of clarity. Rhythm builds trust. Trust builds safety. Safety builds forever. If it's time, you'll feel safe asking hard questions. Safe expressing doubts, safe sharing fears, safe disagreeing respectfully, safe being fully yourself. Because safety is the sign of readiness. I don't want you feeling swept up. I want you feeling anchored, anchored in shared values, anchored in aligned vision, anchored in emotional maturity, anchored in discipline, anchored in peace. Future wife, when timing is right, we won't need to accelerate anything. We won't rush commitment to secure feelings. We won't rush physical closeness to manufacture attachment. We won't rush labels to validate emotion. We will move steadily, intentionally, confidently, because what's built properly doesn't fear patience. There's something sacred about two people meeting when both are done proving themselves, done chasing validation, done confusing chaos for chemistry, done tolerating inconsistency. When two people meet from that place, it doesn't create sparks, it creates stability, and stability sustains passion far longer than sparks ever could. If it's time, you won't feel like you're sacrificing parts of yourself to make this work. You won't feel like you're adjusting your personality to fit my comfort. You won't feel like you're minimizing your standards. You'll feel expanded, supported, respected, chosen. Because when it's right, identity strengthens. It doesn't shrink. Future wife, I don't want our story starting with pressure. I want it starting with peace. Peace that doesn't need constant reassurance. Peace that doesn't depend on dramatic gestures. Peace that rests in daily consistency. Peace that deepens through transparency. Peace that grows through discipline. When it's truly time, commitment won't feel heavy. It will feel obvious. Not obvious because it's simple. Obvious because it's clear. Clear in values, clear in direction, clear in integrity, clear in intention. I won't chase you, and you won't chase me. We'll both stand steady, and steadiness will draw us closer naturally, because healthy love doesn't pursue from insecurity, it moves from confidence. Future wife, if this is time, then both of us have already learned something crucial. Love is not meant to feel like survival. It's meant to feel like survival. It's meant to feel like support. It's not meant to feel like negotiation. It's meant to feel like alignment. It's not meant to feel like unpredictability. It's meant to feel like structure. If it's time, you won't question my loyalty. You won't analyze my silence. You won't decode my tone. You won't manage my emotions. You'll feel secure. Because security is visible in consistent behavior, not in loud declarations. I don't want you choosing me because you're tired of waiting. I want you choosing me because waiting refined you, because discipline strengthened you, because growth matured you, because peace became your standard too. When two people with peace as a standard meet, there is no chaos, there is calm, and calm is powerful. Future wife, if this is time, there will be no internal resistance, no hidden fear, no suppressed doubt. You'll feel clarity replacing uncertainty. You'll feel confidence replacing caution. You'll feel confidence replacing caution. And I'll feel the same. Because I've done the work, I've built the foundation, I've refined the discipline, I've strengthened the stability, I've matured emotionally. Not for fantasy, for forever. If you found this now and everything inside you feels settled instead of stirred, grounded instead of shaken, certain instead of confused, then maybe this is not coincidence. Maybe this is convergence. Two timelines finally overlapping, two prepared hearts recognizing each other, two disciplined lives aligning, not rushed, not premature. Prepared, and when something is prepared, it doesn't require dramatic confirmation. It simply unfolds. Future wife, when it's truly time, I won't need to persuade you. I won't need to convince you. I won't need to overwhelm you. I will remain steady, consistent, clear. And if you remain the same, grounded, intentional, aligned, then movement forward won't feel risky. It will feel right. Right because we didn't rush. Right because we didn't settle. Right because we didn't ignore red flags. Right because we didn't compromise peace. Right because we became first. And when two people become before they commit, commitment feels light instead of heavy. It feels like the natural next step. So if you're reading this and nothing feels chaotic, if everything feels aligned, if your heart feels calm, if your mind feels clear, if your spirit feels steady, then yes, it's time. Not because the calendar says so, not because emotions demand it, but because preparation made it possible. And forever begins best from preparation, not pressure. Peace. And peace is what I feel standing here now. If you feel it too, then let's build intentionally, steadily, confidently. Because when it's truly time, we won't have to ask. We'll simply know.
Future wife. When I finally recognize you, I won't feel chaotic. I feel like adrenaline. I won't feel like convincing myself. I will feel calm. Calm in conversation, calm in vision, calm in shared values, calm in direction, calm in commitment. And that calm is what I was waiting for. Not a louder love, steadier one. I turned down love that wasn't you because I believe in choosing forever once. Not repeatedly, not conditionally, once. And when I choose you, I will carry the weight of every disciplined decisions before you. You won't be the result of exhaustion. You won't be the result of settling. You won't be the result of timing pressure. You will be the result of disagreement, the result of patience, the result of conviction. And that's why when I say yes to you, I will be unwavering. Because I didn't wait for perfection. I waited for peace. And peace is how I will recognize you. There's one more layer beneath everything I told.